Guys, this is the Husker Rundown live atop Memorial Stadium. Spring game here, over, done with today, as everybody looks forward to so much. This is Grant Bosiacki, our new sports writer at the Hub. Grant, a first Husker experience for you.
Yep.
Overall impressions of a game that gets a little bit more pub than it probably should, right?
Similar to Coach Riley, probably. He actually mentioned that he's never been to a spring game anything like this, and neither have I, obviously. So.
Right.
It was pretty crazy atmosphere, environment, everything.
70,000 people here. Get to see a little bit of what they saw about 4.5 months ago, and get to see what they will hopefully see in the future as well. A lot of different things going on here. Tommy Armstrong, of course, the returning quarterback, looked inconsistent as usual. Consistently inconsistent, I guess, is the best way to describe him. But really, you were interested in seeing more of the newer pieces, and a guy that we were definitely looking forward to seeing was A.J. Bush, the lefty quarterback. What'd you kind of think of the way that he was able to sling it around today?
Not too hot, in my opinion. I mean, I haven't been here too long, but the time I have been here, he's been getting hyped up a lot, and definitely even more inconsistent than Tommy.
Yeah, made a lot of younger throws, I would say. That's just kind of a little bit more. You chalk it up to inexperience at this point, and it's a spring game. You don't want to look too far into it. Packages are so vanilla in what guys are going to do.
You can't write off him. He's a redshirt freshman. You can't write him off because of a spring game like this. But he had numerous passes where he just too much loft over the middle, threw 2 interceptions. But what are you going to do about it?
The positives today, though, Demorne Piersonell, still really, really good. Last time we checked, that guy is a flat-out playmaker and definitely going to be somebody that the Huskers are going to rely on a lot in the future.
I told you that he's somebody that I need to get to know more because clearly a playmaker. Yeah. Again, Coach Riley at the end of the game in his press conference, he talked about that they're going to have to do those jet sweeps a lot with him because he's a playmaker. Punt returning, running back, receiver, he does it all.
Yeah, guy that's definitely going to be relied on. And A.J. Bush, if he is the quarterback of the future after the Tommy Armstrong era, he is going to be relying on Piersonell, of course. A.J. Bush took an interesting shot from Mr. Jack Anguish, who the Wood River grad, of course, emerged onto the scene last year with the injuries that Randy Gregory dealt with. Going to be in a starting role, figures to be in a starting role this year, had a big impact on the game today.
Yeah, he's a Nebraska guy, like you said. Said after that, he wanted to be a Nebraska guy his whole life, and 6 tackles today, a sack. Probably actually one of the best defenders out there today.
Just looked really comfortable, a lot more confident, I thought, than he did last year. Last year, dealing with filling shoes that are as big as Randy Gregory is not an easy thing to do. I thought he adjusted a little bit more to that role, playing alongside actually a couple local kids that he maybe played against in high school, or at least has been playing against and getting to know a lot more given the Central Nebraska ties. Thomas Connolly, Kearney Catholic grad, getting into the game today at middle linebacker. He was playing alongside Alex Baritza, who actually led the game in tackles for loss. How about that? Kozad grad, our former Hub Territory Athlete of the Year, actually had 1.5 tackles for loss in this one. Matt Jarzenka got to line up on the defense at the defensive end position and just get reps. I mean, talk about a great reward for kids that put in so much time and effort into being a walk-on redshirt, and to get the reward of playing in front of 70,000 people. Just a really cool experience for kids like this.
And you mentioned some of the linebackers of those guys, and actually Riley after the game said that that's kind of the most open position right now. So, I mean, that's a good thing for them. They can fight for their spots like they've been doing as a walk-on and really fighting their whole career as a Cornhusker.
Yeah, we certainly don't expect guys like that to be breaking the rotation anytime soon, but it is kind of nice to know that you don't have those positions locked down and there isn't this big, massive log jam for guys like that. So a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel for those guys. Blake Holtmeyer getting into the game on offense. Got a catch, got a nice 4-yard quick hitter, was tackled right away. I talked to him about it afterwards, said he wanted a little bit more room to run, but certainly happy just to get a catch. He was targeted 3 times total in this game. Just looked pretty good. A kid that's obviously put on some great muscle to be able to get to this point, and has provided a lot of good looks for that team as a wide receiver. And then Spencer Lindsay getting into the game, a Kearney High grad, actually had the opening kickoff, and that didn't have any action until there was about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
His team couldn't score.
They
got on the board because of their defense, a safety.
Yeah, go figure. Odd play of the game. Tommy Armstrong actually kneels down in the end zone to end the half, and they call a safety on it, and that was the only points the white team had. in the first half. So Spencer Lindsey had a very limited day, but I thought it was kind of interesting that he was kicking ahead of Mario Bondi, and in a situation where, yeah, Bondi was this starter up until the accident that he suffered last year. So Lindsey could be working his way up the depth chart. Of course, Brown has that position solidified, but this is a job that he could see continued reps, I think, at least on the kickoff team. Just interesting to see the way that he kind of developed. A lot of hub territory kids playing in this game. That was kind of the thing that we kept talking about, the fact that you just had a lot of kids that were getting those first-time experiences, and really cool for these kids that aren't going to see the field during the regular season just because of their situations, and they're going to have to work their way into the rotation like a Jack Gangwish did. I think Gangwish is a great motivation for these kids. What was the impression that you kind of got of him post-game?
Well, to kind of go off what you were talking about earlier, that is kind of the cool thing about spring game.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a regular season game, but you do get to see these backups, and potentially down the line, maybe they'll play, maybe they won't, but you get to see them now, so that's cool. What about Gangwish? Yeah, he actually talked about, a little bit that he's a guy that came in, he's unheralded, and now he's, in line to start, so definitely motivation.
That's kind of has to be the rule of thumb, especially with the spring game. Just to know that if you put in that time, you put in that energy, you are going to be rewarded for it. New coaching staff speaking highly of a guy like Gangwish that just comes to work with his lunch pail every single day, and that's certainly an admirable trait. The Husker fans that were here in attendance didn't necessarily get those exciting moments. Mike Riley talked about that afterwards. He said, what was the exact quote? He said, "Nothing exciting consistently," and that's partially because he wasn't throwing in any trick plays. The packages were very vanilla. He wasn't blitzing or stunning or doing anything crazy like that. Game almost had kind of a Pro Bowl type feel, in that you don't want to get anybody hurt. You don't want to complicate things too much or necessarily show your hand. So.
And he did say that. I guess I haven't been at spring games in the past, but I guess there's a little more, flash, and this was just kind of your old style, kind of a practice scrimmage game, There wasn't a whole lot of, stuff going on the side. It was just a classic game, I guess.
Yeah, there was no cats being held up the way that Pompolini, of course, infamously did last year. No Jack Hoffman type moments. So there's been such a big headliner aspect of the Husker spring games each of the last 2 years. There was none of that this year. It was just a new coach getting a feel for his team, getting a feel for what he's going to see this season. I think Husker fans got a little bit of something to tide them over, I think, to football season. This is really the ultimate purpose for that game. Not really going to see a whole lot that you haven't seen before, that you're not going to see on a given day of practice, but just kind of nice to see guys get back into that football mode. And I know Husker fans are counting down the days until opening day, that's for sure.
And then last little bit of quick hits I wanted to just talk about was Sam Foltz, punter.
Oh,
71-yard punt down at the 1. And Riley actually said at Oregon State he's coached, I want to say, 3 NFL punters. He said Sam Foltz is as consistent as any of those guys. So interesting for that. And then B, we said Tommy Armstrong was inconsistent all day.
Yeah.
But when you watch him on the field, I guess this is probably his biggest problem, but also, you just see that potential. So, I mean, It was an inconsistent day. He went 6 for 12 passing, but you just have that hope that he actually could be the guy who leads this offense to places.
Less than 5 months until the regular season is underway. I'm sure that many in this building that left today got the taste that they needed of Husker football, but until then, that is all you will get from us. This has been the Husker Rundown. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in a few months.